You know that feeling when you're just completely stuck? Like you've hit a wall and there's no way forward? Well, today we're going to dive into a powerful story that might just change how you look at your biggest challenges. It's all about a tiny seed, a massive stone, and the amazing strength we find in the most unexpected places.
All right, so let's set the scene. Picture this. We're in the middle of this huge, scorching desert, and buried way down deep under the hot sand is this one tiny little seed.
And this right here, this is the core idea of the whole thing, that your struggle is your power. It's this wild idea that we don't just get stronger despite our problems, we actually get stronger because of them. So let's get into it. Our story kicks off with a feeling I think we all know, that feeling of being totally, hopelessly stuck, right? Just trapped with no way out.
So this tiny seed, it has these big dreams. All it wants is to see the sky, feel the sunlight. But its reality couldn't be more different. It's stuck in the dark, and what's worse, there's this massive stone just sitting right on top of it, crushing any hope it has.
And so what does it do? It gives it everything it's got. It pushes and pushes with all of its might. But that stone, it doesn't move, not an inch. And you can just imagine the feeling, right? Complete and total despair. Okay, so just when the seed is at its lowest point, ready to throw in the towel, thinking its story is over, something happens. A little bit of advice comes from a place you would never, ever expect. A whisper on the wind, right through the sand, says two simple words: look downward. Now think about that. Downward? That makes no sense, right? Everything it wants is up. But this one little piece of advice, it's about to change everything. And this is where we see the big shift. The seed has this light bulb moment. Okay, the way up is blocked, but what if there's another way? Instead of just banging its head against the stone, it pivots. It decides to grow in a totally new direction. All right, so this next part of the story, this is where the real work happens. And it's the hardest part, a long, silent struggle that nobody sees. But it turns out to be the most crucial part of all. I mean, look at this. We're not talking about a quick fix here. We're talking days turning into months, turning into years. All that time, it's just sending its roots down, 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 down through tough, dry earth. It's this incredible, unseen journey of pure grit. And if you were just walking by, what would you see? Nothing, just a rock on the sand. And isn't that so true? The most important growth, the stuff that really matters, almost always happens where no one else can see it. And then, after all that time, all that digging, success. Its roots hit water. And in that one moment, everything changes. It's like a switch flips inside. This isn't just a vague hope anymore. This is real power, real strength flowing into it. Okay, so the seed found its power source. Now let's see what happens when all that behind-the-scenes work finally pays off. So with this new energy, it starts to grow up again. It finds this little crack next to the stone and just works its way out. And when it finally breaks through into the sunlight, it's not some weak, wobbly little thing. No way. It's strong, it's solid, it's anchored. So time passes, and this little seed becomes a tall, majestic date palm. And then the ultimate test. A massive sandstorm rips through the desert. Other plants are just torn out of the ground. But our tree, it bends, for sure, but it does not break. It stands tall. All that work underground is now proving its worth. And this brings us to the biggest takeaway of the whole story. What was it? What was the one thing that forced it to grow those incredible, deep roots? The stone. The same heavy stone, the thing that seemed like its worst enemy, the thing that was blocking it from the light, was actually the very thing that gave it its greatest strength. Without that stone, it never would have built the foundation that let it survive the storm. So let's bring this home. Let's talk about us, because this isn't just a story about a seed, right? We all have our own stones. Seriously, take a second. What's the stone in your life right now? That big obstacle that just feels impossible. A tough project, a difficult relationship, some personal challenge. Now try to look at it through the lens of this story. Because what this story tells us is that when our path forward seems blocked, maybe it's just life's way of telling us to grow deeper. That obstacle is what forces us to build those inner roots. Things like patience, right? And wisdom.
And that faith to just keep going, it's what makes us truly unshakable.
So here's the final idea to leave you with. That big, heavy stone in your life, what if it's not there to crush you? What if it's the very thing that's going to make you strong enough to weather any storm that comes your way?